she's a true friend. And I truly appreciate your friendship. And now I get to present to a friend the award, the Peter Goldman Award. So please, come on up, everyone.
I'm old. So I need to begin. Oh, I'm looking at my cutouts. That is so weird. I need to begin by thanking the past recipients of this very prestigious award, and thank you for including me into the club. I want you to know that the gesture is not lost on me, and I will forever be humbled by being included into the group. The Hotel Council certainly saw some dark days several years ago, and it caused many of us in this room lots of sleepless nights. Through that period, I did my best to remain optimistic, knowing that taking a step backward after taking a step forward wasn't a disaster, but it was rather my version of a cha-cha. And with Kevin Carroll's leadership, this organization has become rich with educational programming, robust with membership, and now has a seat at the table in the political arena because it is indeed a relevant and meaningful representation of our industry. Thank you to the Hotel Council for your hard work and your continuous efforts on behalf of the hospitality industry. It is also terrific to see so many of the new folks, the new hoteliers in the room, stepping up and being involved. I think we're in very good hands, and with the officers leading the charge and the new members, the hotel community is going to be better than ever. Growing up, I had and was very fortunate to have the opportunity to spend time with my grandparents, despite the fact that we lived in separate states. For all of my childhood, I even lived with my grandparents after I graduated from college down in Florida when I went to work for Walt Disney World in Orlando. My grandparents were married for nearly 65 years when my grandfather passed away in 1998. And my grandmother, who was 102, if you saw her already, could unfortunately not join us, as traveling is a little bit difficult for her these days. But she still resides in Florida with my folks, and she stays very busy cooking and playing bridge and having my mom run lots of errands with her. My mom's at home with my grandmother, and as I'm sure you can imagine, these days are indeed precious for mother and daughter time. My father, Aldo, who's here, otherwise known as Big Al from Chicago. I think he's met every single person in this room. He is the mayor. My folks are going to celebrate their 52nd wedding anniversary in August. My dad retired from the candy business, which is why you have Rock's Candy on your place, where he spent over 40 years. And my mom worked as a nurse when I was growing up, and then retired from the insurance side of the business. The neighborhood that we grew up in Kansas City was straight out of a commercial for Hostess or Ford or any other American company you can think of. And when we moved into that neighborhood, it didn't take long for the kids to learn that my dad was indeed the real-life Willy Wonka. The school bus would stop across the street, directly across the street from our house. And when the kids got off the bus in the afternoon, if they saw my dad's car in the driveway, they made a straight beeline for our front door. They would ring the bell vigorously until Big Al answered. "Can we have some candy, Mr. P?" they would say, and of course, Big Al loaded down their backpacks with anything and everything he had. In the cases of candy we had in the house, lemon drops, Boston baked beans, licorice, you name it, he filled it up. It was inevitable that later that night, the doorbell would ring again. This time with parents. With their sick children in tow, asking my mom's medical expertise on Timmy, Susie, and Jenny's symptoms, which usually included constipation, stomachache, you get the idea. My mother would politely prescribe some children's X-Lax or hot water with lemon and send them on their way, but no sooner had the door shut would we hear her yelling down the steps to my dad, "Aldo, stop giving those kids so much damn candy." There was, however, one person who was delighted with my father's profession and his generous nature to give all the kids in the neighborhood candy, and that was our next door neighbor, Dr. Lynch. He was a dentist. My sister, my younger sister Teresa, she's a wife, a mother, and a national council director for Prudential. And ironically, she happens to be married to a dentist who still marvels at the Presutti choppers, given our diet of 26 years at Brock's Candy. For the past several years, I have been fortunate enough to go with my sister Teresa to her leaders conference, where she's honored and recognized by the CEO and president as the #1 salesperson for Prudential for the past several years. Not just in the top 10 or the top 5, she's been #1 consecutively for 4 years in a row. I marvel at her ability to do it all, and she does it perfectly. My brother AJ, who is a lot like my dad, you've probably met him, lives in Chicago, where he's found his footing with Hewlett-Packard and has recently received yet another promotion. Recently, when I was visiting Chicago, I met up with AJ for lunch, and it was close to his office. So as we were walking to the restaurant, we must have been stopped 7 or 8 times by people just yelling, "Hey AJ, what's up AJ? How you doing?" So on and so forth. And finally when we got to the crosswalk and we were waiting for the light to turn green, this old woman walked up and tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Excuse me, young man, I was just wondering, and I have to ask, who are you?" And my brother turned around and whipped out a business card, this little old lady, and he said, "My name is Aldo Presutti, ma'am, but my friends call me AJ." And the woman said, "Well, why do all these people know you?" And he said, "Well, I'm in sales, and those were some of the people that I do business with and work with." And the old woman looked at him and she said with a big grin, "Well, AJ, I don't know what you're selling, but you must be real good at it if these people still like you." So that's my family, and as you can clearly see, I am the underachiever of the group. I have many friends here today. My high school BFF, Jessica Goki, who is also my college roommate, and her husband Paul flew in from St. Louis. Stories we could tell. But that would require a lot of wine, actually a lot of beer, and a beer pong table. So we'll move on. And you've met my coach, Mike Staver, who's had the arduous task of coaching what many would believe to be the uncoachable. But I can assure you that I do listen from time to time. I will forever be indebted to Mike with his uncanny ability to simplify what oftentimes seems to be incredibly complicated and impossible. And Jimmy Bank, who you also met, is here enjoying life now as a retiree. Jimmy has been a great customer and a great friend, and is the very definition of a loyal partner who I had the pleasure of doing business with for over 20 years. Baseball was very, very good to us both. Many of you know my great friend, Manuel Reese, who I consider to be a great human being and someone who gave me some of the best, no-nonsense advice that I have ever received during the darkest and most difficult time of my life last year. Manny said, "You know, Am, the way I see it, it's really pretty simple. Fact of the matter is you can't tame a snake. So it's probably best if you stop putting your hand out. That way you won't get bit." And Danny Ortega, my BFF, words simply can't describe the gratitude I feel for her and our friendship. I look forward to the day when we can settle down in a neighborhood like my folks and have our own retirement community and start our own Mean Girls Club. You all know that I have the best job in the city because I work for the best ownership group in the world. I wish you could all have the same experience that I have going to work every day with kind, generous, thoughtful, and gracious owners such as Takanaka. These are the people that make the Nikko experience so rich because they believe that doing the right thing for our employees and our guests and our community is in fact the right thing to do. And our management company, who has supported me through the good years and the not so good years, have been great partners. I'm forever indebted to JHC. My dear friends from the Hilton, formerly Red Lion Hotel in Glendale, are also here, Cynthia Lightham and Laura Ravella. We grew up in this industry together, and we've made a DOS or GM or two crazy with our unstoppable giggling and antics. But we were really, really good salespeople, so those poor bastards never stood a chance. I introduced you to my Italian family, but I also have a Nikko family. And many of my executive committee have been with me for my entire tenure as the general manager. And many of those who moved on are also here today. There are also several of our management team and Nikko managers here. And it goes without saying that these people are the very reason why I'm standing here today. They do the heavy lifting. They make all the crazy ideas that I have in my head come to fruition. And they make this work experience truly the most amazing and magical experience anyone could ever hope or dream for. They are my friends. They are my family. They are my partners in crime. Thank you for everything you've done. Well, thanks for clapping. I needed to breathe for a second. And finally, someone sent this to me, and I want to leave this with all of you because I think this thought does, in fact, apply to everyone in this room. When you've worked hard, and you've done well, and you've walked through that doorway of opportunity, you do not slam the door shut, but rather, you reach back. From the bottom of my heart, thank you.